Because you could also be going, I can't do this. Why bother? So-and-so has a better life. And so, but how's that serving you? And I think that erodes your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So it's like, what skills do you need? What skills do you need to be more confident making a homemade meal? What skills do you need to be more confident working out? What skills do you need to write a book?
Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I'm your host, Kavita, and the founder of Power Purpose Play, a global community of women in midlife. I'm here to tell you that it's your time now to rediscover what has always been inside of you and bring that out into the world. If you're wondering what's next, but don't know quite what that is, or if you feel a twinge in your heart telling you that you have so much more to do and so much more to offer, you're in the right place. Ask yourself, if not now, when? Do you want to leave your job, start your own business, take control of your health, reignite the passion in your marriage, write that book, or at least that first chapter? Transitions like this can be daunting, but through listening to my story and interviews with incredible women every week, I hope to inspire you to take action. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of season 2 of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I hope your January is going off to a great start. As you may know, I live just outside of Toronto in Canada, and it's been really cold here, but beautiful with the snow, so fresh and clear. I did, however, have the opportunity to escape this frigid cold and spend a few days in San Diego this past week with my parents, sister, and brother-in-law, and it was just beautiful. One of my favorite things is walking along the beach by the ocean, and I was able to get plenty of that in. As I listened to my almost 89-year-old father speak about his life, reminiscing about old stories of when we moved here from Kenya to Canada in the 60s, it reminded me of how precious life really is. We worry about little things every day, but in the grand scheme of things, just to be grateful for each moment, spending time with family, in nature, and just being is so important. The last 2 years with COVID has brought that into huge perspective for so many of us, and maybe that's a good thing. What do you want to do with this one precious life? I am so motivated to help you answer this question. It really is my soul's purpose now. You may be stuck as to what to do next in your life, what your real passions are, and how you want to show up for yourself and for others. I'm here to help you, and I am a certified professional midlife transition and core energy coach. I'd love to help you with personal one-on-one coaching if that's what you prefer. But I'm also excited to share that our first group coaching session of the year is now open for enrollment. Called It's My Time Now, I will work with you and a small group of women step by step to help you gain the confidence to find fulfillment in your life moving forward, whatever that means for you. Book a free consultation call with me to discuss and tell me what is on your mind and what your goals are for yourself this year. On our episode today, I interview Tanya Willis, who is a founder of Vibrant Living and helps women over 40 lead a healthy and vibrant life through integrating simple shifts in movement, nutrition, and mindset. I'm sure you will be very motivated by our conversation. You may have also heard, and I was saddened to learn, of the recent passing of the great Vietnamese Buddhist monk and global spiritual leader Thich Nhat Hanh a few days ago. One of his quotes, which resonated with me and is appropriate, I believe, for today's podcast topic, is this: "Your body belongs to your ancestors, your parents, and future generation. And it also belongs to society and all other living things. All of them have come together to bring about the presence of this body. Keeping your body healthy is an expression of gratitude to the whole cosmos, the trees, the clouds, everything." Enjoy today's episodes, my friend, and remember, you have this one precious life. What do you want to do with it? Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of Power Purpose Play. And we are a global platform which is dedicated to advancing the personal growth and inner power of women in midlife. I've had the honor of interviewing incredible women every week who will serve as an inspiration for you and who will give you examples of how to face the obstacles in your way and take that first step towards reinvention. Today is no exception in that I'm very pleased to have Tanya Willis on the podcast today. Tanya has been teaching in the health and fitness industry for 30 years. She is the founder of Vibrant Living with Tanya and the Willis Method. She has a lot of certifications, including a behavior change specialist, pain-free movement specialist, Pilates instructor, ACE personal trainer, PNL1 nutrition coach, foam rolling guru, just to name a few. In 2018, she published her book, Cookie Dough in the Dark, which we'll have to learn a little bit more about, which is a tell-all book about her struggles with food addiction and how she moved through it to live the vibrancy in her life now. Tanya teaches women over 40 the skills needed to release weight and end their struggles with mindless munching and cravings without depriving themselves. She also teaches a variety of fitness and mindset classes in her online Vibrant Living studio. That all sounds so fantastic. Welcome, Tanya, to the show. So pleased to have you on today.
Thank you for having me. So fun that we've connected.
Yes.
Oh, lovely.
Good.
Lovely.
Good. Yes.
I just taught one of my classes, so I'm ready to go.
You're all energized. Yeah, I just had a workout too. So I'm like, I better do that before I get on the call with her.
That's right.
So just to get started, Tanya, I just read all your certifications and accomplishments that you have done. And I love how you teach women how to lead a vibrant life. And so tell us just a little bit about how you got into what you're doing today. Was there any kind of a pivotal moment, perhaps, where you realized, you had to change or what led you to what you're doing today?
Well, you know what? You would have least likely expected me to do anything fitness related because when I was in public school, high school, I was not into gym class at all. Okay. I didn't mind doing the dance and maybe the aerobics, but team sports were not my thing. And they really emphasized that a lot. So it kind of turned me off. But I went to Western. I did a degree. And then afterwards, I was like, what do I want to do? Like, I just didn't feel like I was ready to start in the work world yet. So I went to George Brown College and took a fitness and lifestyle management certification or diploma and fell in love. Fell in love. I fell in love with lifting weights. I fell in love with anatomy. I fell in love with how incredible I felt. And even though I had worked out, it was really just, it was a lot of information. It was like really in-depth learning. So that's kind of how I got into the fitness side of it. From there, I went and worked in the financial industry for a while. And I talk about this in my book. I basically had a nervous breakdown and I'm like, I can't sit for a living. Like I'm not going to sit. I was like 23, I think, at the time. I'm making a salary. I've got my 2 weeks vacation. I have benefits. And I was like, honestly, I was shipped away in an ambulance, came back, tried again.
Seriously?
Yeah. Shipped away.
Okay.
I had a nervous breakdown. I had massive anxiety attack and I just passed out. And that was a sign, like, you cannot do this. But I have to tell you something. There's this whole ego image thing. I dressed up, I wore nylons, which I hated, high heels, suits. I looked the part, but inside I was dying. And so I really had to do a switch mentally that it's okay to wear running shoes and a tracksuit and follow my passion. And I have to tell you, that was really hard. So if there's anybody out there who is looking at that career shift, it almost brings tears to my eyes. Because I believe that there's always whispers and you're not listening. And then there's a big knock. And I really got a big knock. And so I had to do a lot of self-searching just to see that I was okay wearing track pants and running shoes. But I loved it. I loved it. I was so happy. I made triple my salary. I took 6 weeks vacation and it wasn't work anymore. I could work 15 hours a day and I loved it. I loved it.
Nice.
So I knew I had found something that I was going to do for the rest of my life. And that's basically how my journey started. And from there, I've evolved from being a personal trainer, a fitness instructor. I have, like I said, a lot of different certifications. A lot of people say I'm 10 people rolled into one. So I'm also a little ADHD. So I have a lot of stuff going on, but I think it's all connected.
Yes.
We're a whole being. We can't segment ourselves.
Right. So that's incredible. What I really like about what you said is those whispers that you said, and then you hear the knock, and it's such a common theme that I've heard over and over again from many of the women that I've interviewed and I've met, including my own self, and that I had those whispers, and I was in the corporate world as well. But I just wish that people would take action before the knock.
It's scary though.
Yeah,
it is scary. It's
yes,
very scary. But I think being 23, I don't know if I just whatever, but I had faith. And I knew that I wasn't going to be like, I couldn't do this. So yes, it is. It's not getting to the knock,
Yes, right.
Trusting that voice, following your intuition. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's wonderful that you were able to identify what your passion was and at an early age, which was great. And I think what happens is sometimes we get into these roles or our career or whatever roles we play in life, and we kind of get stuck, right? And and even if we hear those whispers, we ignore them. So it's wonderful that you were able to actually listen to them and realize that this is what you wanted to do. So that's great for you. Awesome.
Another scary step was, here's my book, Cookie Dough in the Dark, was so I had a eating disorder, food addiction, and this was another leap. This was another sweating, like, oh my gosh, just tell it all, let it all out. So there's definitely different moments in your life, and stepping into this fitness career was one, and then writing a book was another. And I still have them, but instead of dread, it's exciting. It's exciting. And I thought I was going to quiet myself from the world because you can get a lot of criticism. It's not always easy being an entrepreneur. And
really?
Yeah, I've had a few mini breakdowns.
I didn't know
that. The way, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're putting yourself out there all the time, and there's crickets sometimes. You're like, why am I doing this? And when I turned 50, I thought, you know what? I've had enough. Like I'm exhausted. And I took some time off. Not totally off, but just kind of step back from some projects. And I thought after a while, I'm like, I'm not done yet. I can't be quiet. I'm 50. I've got like 30, 40 years of my life left. I have too much passion and purpose, and I can't stop. So I fired everything back up again. I was still teaching and stuff, but I really got back into doing a lot more.
Well, you're on the right show with a passion and purpose after 50.
Yeah.
So you do talk about, Tanya, you talk about your 3 pillars, and that you mentioned about the whole person, and in it you have movement, nutrition, and mindset. So tell us about those 3 pillars and why they're so important, especially for women in midlife and beyond.
We're a whole person. So I've said that before. Movement is the best medicine. It is great for your brain. Like, there's not one negative thing about movement, and movement is broad. So I'm not into CrossFit. I'm not into running, but you might be. So gravitate towards somebody like that, but try. And one of the things I really encourage women to do is play with what you like. Play. So we do a lot of playing. We play with balls and rollers, and I just get people to experiment. So movement is medicine. So we all have to move. It's non-negotiable as far as I'm concerned. And how I look at it, it's not about weight loss. It is not about weight loss. I've worked with seniors my entire life, and they've taught me the importance of my hand and my feet and mobility and movement and not having aches and pains. And that's one of the biggest things I teach in my online studio is I want you, when you're in your 80s, to be living life. And what can we do now so that you have that vibrancy, that energy, and that you can move without aches and pains? And that is like my main purpose for that. And we have fun. And then there's nutrition. I was a food addict, eating disorder, for decades, which stemmed from lots of emotional baggage that I did not have the skills to deal with. So that kind of goes into mindset. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But nutrition is fundamental. And again, I think as an industry, we do a disservice to people. And what I have learned is that there's a lot of different diets. I do not promote one single diet. I promote what works for you, and it changes. Okay. So there's not, like, I give suggestions, I'll do some meal plans for people, but nutrition really goes into mindset. So once you understand that basically, it's about eating lots of fruits and vegetables, whole foods, and listen, have fun with some other stuff too, but what's your goal? And so mindset is the biggest piece. Mindset is the biggest piece that stops everybody from doing movement nutrition. And it is why I don't like to say I failed, but I failed to learn the lessons for about 3 decades when it came to my eating issues. And there's a spectrum of eating issues, right? So I was a food addict, a sugaraholic. So I was the person who made cookies, ate most of the batter, and then ate all the cookies before they were cold. Like, I had a serious problem. Okay. But I didn't look like I had a problem because I worked out. So I was on this acidic treadmill, I call it, of calories in, calories out. And I basically burned myself out on numerous occasions. So I wasn't ready, or I didn't know the skills of mindset. And that is one thing I do weekly. We do group coaching calls. We work on mindset, because until you have the right mindset, the other stuff is like pushing up a rock, like pushing a rock up a hill. As soon as I clicked, oh my gosh, everything changed.
So by mindset, sorry to interrupt, but by mindset, what exactly do you mean? Are you talking about understanding in your own self what you want, who you are, what you want, and how to get there? Or is that more around health and like what kind of mindset training do you do?
Oh, okay. It's very broad because first of all, I like teaching people about your brain. So I like talking about the amygdala, the brain, so you know how your brain is wired. And then from understanding how your brain is wired, you know that you are not a failure, that you don't lack willpower. I thought I was a loser. Why does everybody else have it easily? But I didn't understand how my brain worked. It works for survival. So as soon as we understand how the brain works, you can start to say, oh, just a minute. Okay, I know that this is normal. But now I need some skills and strategies to develop so that I'm not just using willpower, so that I'm not just using deprivation, so that I'm not just thinking that this is hard, right? Right. So then you start to learn, and I didn't know the skills and strategies. I taught them all to myself. I'm an avid reader. I love the book Biology of Beliefs by Bruce Lipton. I love Joe Dispenza. Like, I really got into understanding how the brain worked. Your belief, you are what you think about. What you think about, you bring about. And so if your thoughts are always on deprivation and I can't have, and I'm no good, and I am not worth it, then you will gravitate, you will bring that energy into your life. Sure. And you will continue to do what you're doing because you're not good enough. You're not worth it. So you're that radio station of I'm not good enough, and you're going to attract everything to you that you're not good enough.
Well, thoughts become things, right? So
thoughts become things.
Yeah.
And until you change your thoughts, like I said, it's a struggle. Yes. And so I free people from the struggle, but they have to trust in the process. And that is what I did not do when I was in my 20s and 30s. I did not trust in the process. And I didn't even understand the process. But now I understand the process. And I say to my clients, if you trust in the process, you will have changes. They're not going to be tomorrow. That's the other thing we need is time and patience. It's a journey. It's a journey. And I didn't appreciate the journey when I was younger. But I love the journey. I love it. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think people want quick fixes too much these days. Everything is like instant. If I don't lose the weight in 3 weeks, what's going on? And something's wrong with me or this and that. But I so agree with you. It's a lifestyle, and once it becomes part of your lifestyle, you can't separate it from yourself, right?
No, and that's why, like, the whole body,
Yes.
it's the movement,
Yes.
everything falls into place. And I just had a client yesterday, she says, Tanya, I'm so glad I bought into the process, because she is a different person, but it hasn't been with struggle or with deprivation. It's been with understanding, self-love, commitment, and effort. There is effort and there is some discipline, but what isn't there? When you want something, it takes work, but you can make it fun or you can make it drudgery.
Yeah. I guess that's wonderful. I love that. Movement, nutrition, and mindset. It's almost like a triangle. It's like these pillars that if you don't have one, then you're out of balance with the other. Right. So fantastic. That kind of runs into the next question. Is we talked about mindset, but what other things prevent women from taking the time to look after themselves? We talk a lot here about limitations that we place upon ourselves, and that thinking that we're not good enough, or we're too old, or all these things that we come in our head. And what is your opinion on that? And why do we do that? And why do we put limitations on our own self?
Fear is a big one. Fear of failure. Yeah. Right. So I flip it on its head and I'm like, learn, like so write down all your fears. What are you afraid of? So a lot of people are like, well, I used to have a studio, but sometimes people go to classes and they feel like people are watching them. Nobody's watching you. Nobody is, because they're watching themselves. Yeah. So I used to work at the Adelaide Club, Cambridge Club, RCYC, in these incorporations. And that was one concern. Everybody was like, well, what will other people think if I'm not doing it properly? Or I'm, and I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody is watching you. Nobody. Right. So get over it. Yeah. So now that we're in the online space, maybe that fear is a little bit removed. But I think it is. People have this fear of failure. I'm not going to do it right. I'm going to hurt myself, especially women over 50 or 40 that haven't done stuff before. I'm going to hurt myself. But that's why you have to find somebody who is educated and knows what they're doing and start at the beginning. So often I see women join a boot camp class and they haven't moved in 5 years and they hurt themselves. That's not how we start, but that's this society. It's quick fix. It's get it now. So fear of hurting themselves and just, I'm too old. Right. And I work with 80-year-olds. I work with 70-year-olds and they're aging backwards. Like they feel so incredible. I had a 67-year-old who lost 70 pounds. Okay. What? Never too old and kept it off. Right. You're never too old. So I think we need to let go of that belief. Yes. And we need to look at the beliefs in our head. Like, what is it? And face them and learn from. Listen, I have made a lot of mistakes, but if I learn from them, I'm okay with it. I move on. Yeah. So 100%. I think I think it's a big fear. Yeah. And not believing in themselves.
Exactly. That too, fear, not believing in themselves. But also I think at this stage in our lives, because we've always looked after other people, whether it's kids or your work or your spouse or your parents, we're in this always looking after, caring for other state. And when it comes to looking after ourselves, we almost feel guilty. I don't know if you see that.
It's a lack of self-worth. Yeah. You don't think you're worth it. Bottom line, you don't think you're worth it. And to be very blunt, it's an excuse because you're afraid. Deep down inside, you're afraid. So you keep using other people as an excuse to cover up your own insecurities. And it's much easier to do that and blame other people. Oh, I don't have time because I have to do this. I'm like, no, you have 5 minutes. My whole approach is simple shifts and you have 5 minutes. And so
I was going to ask you about that. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you mean by simple shifts and how can we make those shifts in our life?
Well, the first thing is you have to know what do you want? Okay. You don't have to know everything you want, but say you just want to get rid of aches and pains. You just want to eat one green thing a day. Okay. Like just pick something that you want to work on. And so you have your mindset, you're going to do that. And so this is going to sound crazy, I'll give you two examples. But say you want to move your body. Okay.
Yeah.
Just go and hold your weights or put your weights on your desk just so you see them. So for some people, that's the first step because your amygdala, this fight, flight, freeze, is you have said for years, I hate working out. I always hurt myself. Like you have so much negativity around working out that just go and touch the weights. Just touch them, see them, make friends with them. Say, you know what? They're going to make me stronger. They're going to make my bones stronger. They're going to make me feel better. And so we need to break down this fear, this barrier. So many people jump in, they lift weights for a week, and then they're out.
Yeah.
Right? Because they haven't done the mindset shift of start slowly. So people say, Tanya, what's that going to do? Well, listen, I've done it with hundreds of women. You will work out because eventually you'll pick up the weights and you'll go, okay, well, I can do 2 bicep curls. That's all I have to do today. All I want you to do is 2 bicep curls. And so they'll come back to me and they said, well, I did 10 because I was doing 2 and I'm like, why not do 10? Well, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. And that is a simple shift. Yeah. So another one is I love smoothies. Smoothies changed my entire life because as a food addict, you get vegetables. And listen, I was a healthy eater. So I wasn't like a fast food. I mean, I cook my own food. I just ate way too much food and a lot of cookies and cakes and chocolate and extreme.
Yeah.
So when I started teaching smoothie workshops, I'm like, put 1 leaf of spinach in there. So say they're having a really sugary smoothie. I'm like, put 1 leaf of spinach.
Yeah.
They're like, well, again, that's not going to do anything. I'm like, no, but you will eventually put 2 pieces.
You won't even taste it.
You won't even taste it.
It's so funny you say that. Yeah. I just started doing, we did smoothies once in a while, but I've started putting them in my routine every day and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
We do not eat enough nutrition.
No.
1 apple in the 1950s, you have to eat 27 apples now for the same nutrient density. And when I learned about cells and nutrient density, this was another shift that I made. I was like, we do not eat enough nutrients. And our cells, this is why we're overfed and undernourished. So many people finish something and they go, I'm still hungry. I'm still hungry. Well, you're not, your cells are hungry.
Yeah.
And until you learn how to properly feed your cells, you will have cravings. You will have all these things. So again, this is another piece of the puzzle. And when you figure that out, it goes away. It's not about, I can't have cookies. It's like, okay, what can I add to my diet? So I work a lot on addition principles. I don't take anything away from anybody. I'm like, I will not change your diet, but let's add in some things. Yeah. And then what we do over time is we push things out. You don't even realize it. I've done it with my whole family and I've done it with myself.
Once you start eating well and whole foods and healthy, you just, it feels gross when you eat the other stuff.
Yeah.
As you said, but if you start slowly with these simple shifts, then the more you introduce these healthy things into your life, whether it's food or exercise or even mindset, then they build and they build and they build, and to the point where it's like you can't go back.
Hi, my friend. Kavita here. Do you often feel blocked from moving forward? We all feel that way at times. These are referred to as energy blocks. I've created a short, actionable PDF guide to help you release your negative energy blocks. Click the link in the description to download it now for free. Now, let's get back to the episode.
No, you cannot go back because with my journey with overeating, and this can be people who drink, because I have a lot of clients who drink a lot of wine, right? So, but they're the same thing. The only difference is anybody who has a food addiction, we all have to eat. So I think it's a really hard addiction. And they have increased the amount of sugar in everything. So you really have to understand. So I do a whole 30-day detox, but only with added sugar. So let's have a look at the added sugar in things. And it's shocking. the change you can make just there. That's a simple shift. You don't have to give everything up. Let's just look at the added sugar. But what happens is, I went on a tangent there, and I'll come back to it. What was I going to say?
We were talking about the simple shifts.
Right. Is that, so say I used to eat my 30 cookies.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to 0, which is what I always thought I had to do.
Right.
Right. I can just go to 28 or 25. And I didn't understand that was okay to do, but it worked. It really worked, because I used the thing, and because I had an eating disorder, I can never say I can't have something. I always say I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want. But how is it going to make me feel? And this is a huge chunk of what I teach. What is it that you are trying to get from the food?
Yes.
Because food will not fix your feelings. Food is not going to fix your trauma. Food is not going to fix your emotional state. It's going to be a Band-Aid, a quick fix, and you're still going to have the issues. And that's where this whole mindset piece came in, that I was like, okay, Tanya, you got to do this piece. You're not going to get to the next level if you don't do this piece.
Yeah, that's great that you've incorporated all of those. Fortunately, I've been quite healthy in terms of, like, I would love to work out, and I'm eating healthy, but what I find that really works for me, and I don't know if this is part of your program, is just really listening to my body and saying, well, what if I craving carbs, I'm going to have it. It's not like I'm going to deprive, like you were talking about deprivation earlier. And it's about listening to your body. If you're full, then stop eating.
Yes. It's very interesting, because I think that's another fear, is sometimes we don't want to listen to ourselves. Because I had to do some, this is called like cookie dough in the dark, because there was a lot of shame. There was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of negative energy. I hated myself. I was angry at myself. How could I do something? So I had to do that work to come out of the dark and into the light. And it's been a process. It's been a journey, but it's well worth doing. And what you said about, just remind me what you said again.
Listening to yourself.
Listening to yourself. Yeah. Trusting yourself, because sometimes I'm like, okay, the wine, the cookies, the overeating or whatever, I know it's not going to make me feel good. And I have in this moment a choice. I have a choice. And I think we give our choices away. We need to empower ourselves, that we blame. It's much easier to blame. I did it because so-and-so. No, you have to make a choice, and is it moving you closer to your goals or further away from your goals? And so I have this whole series of questions that I ask all my clients, or that I share with my clients. And that has really helped, because awareness is the first step. Awareness is key.
Yes.
Because most of us have no idea what we're doing.
Right.
We live 85% of our day in complete unconscious robotic state.
It's so interesting. Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. You talked about your book. What are some of the other main themes of the book that you could share with us?
Well, emotional eating. A lot of people emotional eat. It could be nighttime eating, stress eating, 3 p.m. eating. Emotional eating is this huge umbrella. And I was definitely an emotional eater, because I didn't know how to deal with discomfort. I had no other skills. So I ate. Because as a kid, we are programmed by society, by parents. Oh, you fell down and hurt your knee? Here's a cookie. We're always distracting. And it's usually with food. Oh, crying? Have a lollipop. So it is ingrained in us.
I never thought of that. Yeah.
It becomes like a trigger. You're in pain, eat. You're in pain, drink. You're in pain, gamble. You're in pain, distract. And so it's not until you feel the discomfort, and we've never been taught how to be uncomfortable. Like, it is not fun being uncomfortable, but we've never been taught that it's okay. And it's even okay, the message, it's okay. And even in society right now, we still give this message of quick fixes and Band-Aid solutions, and don't feel the pain. No, feel the pain.
Yeah.
Be the pain. What do you like? Again, what is it? Because again, if you vibrational energy with your cells, our cells carry everything we've ever done. And if you believe in like going back, they bring everything forward. So whatever you want to believe in. And so our cells have all of this energy within them. And it's our job to start releasing it. right? So we have emotional trauma, we have physical trauma in our lives. And so when my parents separated, I had neglect. I felt unloved, and I started to carry this. And every time I felt it, I began to eat it.
Mm.
And I, like I said, was never taught the skills of, I have a feeling, it's okay to sit with it. It's okay to say what I felt. It's okay to start to unwind all the trauma. And again, my trauma, I always dismissed it. It's like, I have this, I have that. I shouldn't feel this way. But you know what? I do. Yeah. So give yourself permission. To just, it's your story, and give yourself permission to go into your trauma, into your emotions, into what is holding you back, and invite her in, listen to her, and start to make a plan to move forward.
Yeah. And understand where that came from, and try and deal with that. Like, where did it come from, and not just blame other people, because it's everything that happens really is our choice. Like you said earlier, it's our choice, and it's within us. It's within our control. Right?
It is within our control. But this is the thing that I work with women, is that it's not another meal plan. It's not another diet. It's not another thing. So even though I still will give people that, I am like, okay, but we need to do this.
Yeah.
Because this is going to work for 20 days. This is going to work for the rest of your life.
Yes.
So you have to kind of give them some of what they want. And then I gotta go, oh, but this is what you need in here.
You can almost see probably the future for them, but you want them to get there really quickly. But it's like, okay, let's take baby steps, right?
Yeah. As a coach, it is really hard to sit back and be like, I'll tell you everything you need to do. But listen, I needed to go through what I needed to go through. You need to go what you need to go through. I'll help you probably get there faster, because I have the skills, the techniques, the strategies that you may not have had before. Mm-hmm. But it's not a smooth ride.
Yeah.
There are bumps, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, and I've talked to a lot of women, I think the difference between some people who actually achieve what they want and those who don't often is the confidence in themselves to do the thing, right? And you obviously had the confidence at an early age to go after what was your passion, but often women are stuck and they don't have the confidence in themselves to take the next step, especially at this age. So I know it all kind of ties in, but in terms of confidence and what you'd advise women, how do you advise women to have the confidence in themselves to do the thing?
Okay, you don't get confidence until you do something that scares you.
Yeah.
It's never going to land in your lap. So I say to people, motivation, you have to move. You just have to do something. So I find a lot of times with confidence, okay, stop comparing yourself to other people, first of all, okay? Because that just shuts you down. Mm-hmm. And confidence comes from, okay, say you, like, I'm trying to think of an example of, but this, I always just go back to, do the smallest thing. Do the smallest thing. That's it. Mm-hmm. So working out, moving your body gives you confidence. It just makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. And eating better makes you, and it's just the little things, but confidence, it comes from trusting yourself. And I think we've eroded a lot of our confidence because we try and go on a diet, or we do a boot camp and we fail and we go, I'm no good. Okay. Right. But why not just lay on your roller? Or why not just bring your knees into your chest and rock on your back? But people think, but that's nothing. But this goes back to my simple shifts. No, This is how we build confidence. This is how, like, I'm an introvert. I am not a social person.
Really?
And nobody, no.
I would not guess that.
No. And this is a skill set I have had to work out, because if I go to a party, I eat. I don't like I used to. I overeat because I'm nervous. I don't like small talk. And so to calm myself, I just eat, because if I just sit there and my mouth is full and drinking, I look busy.
Yeah.
So this is something that I'm like, it's okay to be an introvert. I'm an extrovert in my job. Like, that's why nobody thinks I'm an introvert. Yeah. But I am happy with a cup of tea, reading, playing with my dogs. I'm a loner, and I actually enjoy it. So, but the confidence comes from, okay, I'll go back to my going out stuff, is that what scares me about this? Okay, small talk. Okay, so how can I develop some skills? What are some questions I can ask? And so we break it down, right? You just have to break it down. What's the smallest thing I can do? And it's not that I'm going to go to a party and be 100. It's that I'm going to be a 2.
Talk to one person.
I'll talk to one person.
Yeah.
And then the next time I'm a 5.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's it.
Yes.
So you just have to do it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Or else life passes you by. Yeah. And then you have these regrets.
Yeah. You don't have to look at the whole staircase. You just have to look at the step in front of you.
Yes, one step.
And there's been several discussions I've had about comfort zone and then growth zone, getting out of, in order to be confident, you do really have to do the thing, but you don't have to do the whole thing. You can do a little bit to get yourself a little bit out of the comfort zone. And the more you get out of the comfort zone, then you grow and then you become more and more confident. Like I was just thinking this morning about how I've actually just completed the first season of this podcast. And I was like, oh my God. Because honestly, before I started this, I was scared, right? Like, I don't think I can do this. I don't know. And then you just do it. And then you do it more, you get more comfortable. It becomes kind of second nature. Yeah. And you grow. So that's an example of how to gain the confidence.
It is
like by doing it. Yeah.
I just wrote a post on my Facebook that says, one thing I haven't done this year is failed enough. Because when you don't fail, you're not doing.
Right.
And you're not growing. And I also say in my post, there is nothing wrong with being where you are. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with being in your comfort zone. Okay. But I don't like my comfort zone 12 months a year for the rest of my life. I want to grow. So in order for me to grow, I need to challenge myself, and I'm going to fail. But it's not failing bad fail. It's the failing that I'm going to learn. But staying here, I'm not doing anything.
It's failing forward, right?
It's failing forward. I talk about that in my book. You're failing forward. Yeah. So I did not fail enough because I was lacking. And I don't even think it's self-confidence and self-esteem anymore. I'm lacking the skills, and they're holding me back. And I fell into the comparison trap of so-and-so has a better business. Why aren't I like that? And I'm trying to do way too much, and it's just me. And so I have to go back to Tanya. You are one person. You are passionate. You will attract who you need to be, or who needs to come to you. Just be you. And so I'm like my cheerleader. You got to be your own cheerleader too, because
you're really energizing me. I have to tell you.
Because you could also be going, I can't do this. Why bother? So-and-so has a better life. And so, but how's that serving you? And I think that erodes your self-esteem and your self-confidence. So it's like, what skills do you need? What skills do you need to be more confident making a homemade meal? What skills do you need to be more confident working out? What skills do you need to write a book? Yeah. I wrote a book. My skills at marketing my book are not great. And so I'm like, I have a choice. Do I want to make them better or not? That's my choice. The book is not going to sell itself. Yes. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to go out there and spread your word about your business and inspire women. Like my heart, my whole purpose is inspiring women. It's bigger than me. I want you to live your most vibrant, energetic life. I want you to be joyous and play and have fun. And I see so many people stuck, and I understand why they're stuck, because nutrition plays a part with being stuck. Not moving your body keeps you stuck. Your mindset keeps you stuck. But you just make a choice and you decide, am I going to do something that scares me today or not? And then you can't blame anybody else, because it's just you. And if you don't have 5 minutes, then you need to work on your scheduling. And sometimes I can be a bit of a badass right to the point, because there's enough sugarcoating. Yeah, there's enough sugarcoating going on sometimes. It's like, do it or don't, but stop complaining.
I love the passion in your voice, especially you said it's not about me, it's about you, and about helping and energizing other women. And the other thing that you said that really stuck with me is we compare ourselves, but each of us is unique in that we all attract energy and other people are attracted to our energy. And it doesn't have to be the whole world. It can be a sliver of person, like a group of people who for some reason or another are going to be attracted to what you have to offer. So I love that when you start comparing yourself to others, it's just, it erodes your confidence. So if you work on what you have to offer and what you're passionate about, and that will automatically attract people to you, right?
Yeah, I tell people they're a radio station, and I'm like, do you want to be the vibrant, energetic woo, radio station, or do you want to be the Debbie Downer, can't do this, can't do that radio station? Because whatever radio station you're playing, you're attracting that frequency. And it's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. So check in with yourself. What radio station do you want to be? And listen, I'm not always a 10 on my radio station. I have my down days, but that's okay because I recognize them. I'm aware of them, right? And then I'm like, and you can't always be a 10 because I have been a 10 and burnt myself out. So, but you can have the general radio station. Mine is vibrancy, energy, playing, passion.
Power, purpose, play, passion, vibrancy.
Yes.
And I think for me, the belief is about the energy. It really is how do we increase our energy levels to the point where we're exuding excitement for the world and for us, and passion for other people, and how we can help other people. So it's all related. And once you feel internally well, and through the ways that you're helping people, then you just show up better for yourself and for others. Right.
Trust in the process, have fun with being curious. This is one of my big messages this year. Be curious. Be curious. Why are you doing something? Why did you make that choice? Why are you feeling this way? Ask yourself. And so many times we don't. And listen, there's a lot, especially with everything. The vibrational energy is low right now.
Yeah.
And we need everybody to rise up. So if you're not going to do it for you, because the people where they can't do things for themselves, do it for other people. Because the more you shine, the more you're vibrant, the more you're living your passion purpose, the more you're playing, the more our life, this whole collective, it just vibrates at a higher energy. We go from shame, blame, guilt, which is very low energy, to love, passion. I stick everybody in my love bubble now. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody is in my love bubble. I may not agree with them, but I'm putting them in my love bubble.
Yeah.
And that raises me up. And I just hope as a collective consciousness, it starts to raise everything up, because look up the vibrational energy chart online. You can Google it. It is unbelievable, because when you are in guilt and shame and anger, you attract low vibrational food. You don't want to move your body. You don't know how to think. But if you start to move out of that and move up, you start to bring in other things, but you have to be ready for it. And this is another thing I will just mention. I talk about this in my book. Caroline Meese, I always pronounce her last name wrong, but Meese or Mice. I heard her at a Louise Hay conference years ago, and this really changed my life, is that if you're always living on the ground floor, that's what you see. Okay. So you look out, you see the cars, you see this, that's it.
Yeah.
So say you want to quit smoking. So you go, I'm like, I want to quit smoking, but just remember that your world right now is that you were living on the ground floor of smoking. That meant you went out Friday nights, you went to a bar, you smoked with your friends, you had some drinks. Okay. Now you decide to not smoke. Well, you can't do what you did. Right. So you try and go up to a new level, and you are here and you're still being pulled down because you like those friends. You like these activities, but you also want to feel better, right? You want a different perspective. And so you're struggling between who you were and who you want to be. And that's okay. This is why so many people go back and forth, because they haven't developed the skills to understand that that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. And then start to take the simple shift and maybe talk to your friends and say, listen,
help me out.
Help me out. Like, can we go for a walk instead? Can we do this? And so once upon a time, I thought when people weren't my friends anymore, or I didn't want to be friends with anybody, that there was something wrong with me. What I've learned is that they're not tuning into my radio station. And once I did that, my self-confidence increased, my self-esteem increased, because I am growing. And there are certain people who choose not to grow, and that's fine.
Yes.
But I don't want to be around complainers and people that don't want to rise up. So I can't be with that group of friends anymore. And so I write about this, and she talks about the 7 levels. And that really helped me understand.
The 7 levels of energy?
No, well, it was just the perspective of like you move from the ground floor to the high rise, and now you're looking down on everything, and you're like, I never knew there was a dog over the fence. I never knew she had a vegetable garden. But unless you perspective, it all comes down to perspective. And so many times we live our lives too much about what other people think about us. We gotta just let that go. And it's a hard one. It's a hard one to be criticized. It's a hard one to have people stomp on your dreams. It's a hard one to let go of the life that you felt comfortable with. But that's your choice. So you can decide.
Yes. Wow.
So
Fantastic.
this book gets into a lot of that kind of thing. Where you thought you had your life all figured out, and then the universe knocks, and it's like, you haven't done with this yet.
Just kidding. Fantastic. As I said before, your energy is contagious, and it's, I love everything that you've talked about, and we will definitely have your book and all your links for people if you're interested in learning more from you, because obviously you have a lot to share and a lot to grow from. I mean, I think just from your own experience, having getting through the food addiction and now writing about it, that's incredible. So is there anything before we go, anything you wanted to end off with? Or
I just it's the end of the year or the beginning of the year when this goes live, is just we rush. And I used to rush. I'm a very type A personality, rush, get things done. And I've learned to let go.
Yeah.
I've learned to play. I've learned to be curious. I've learned to just slow down, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but take the time and really just do some inner work and get to know you. Get to know you, get to love yourself. I want you to look at yourself, and I want you to love you, because you're going to raise your energy just by looking in the mirror and saying, I love your eyes. I love your smile. I love how I take care of my kids. I love how I play with my dogs. Not, oh God, look at my thighs. I have to work out today. Oh geez. Like, just
thoughts become things, back to that, right? It's
exactly
self-love and really appreciating yourself for everything, all the flaws.
Yeah, you are here. You are a gift from God. You are on this planet for a reason. Whatever it is, let your light shine. Let your light shine.
Oh, that's beautiful. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just, I totally agree. And thank you so much for sharing that.
I have to say, it's very freeing getting older.
It is, isn't it? I was just going to say that sometimes as we look forward, there's so much ahead of us. But then you have the choice also to look at it as an opportunity. We have so much ahead of us.
We have so much ahead of us.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. I feel like I'm starting a whole new life.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. My kids are at university.
Yeah.
And now I get to give more of my time because I'm a giver. I'm a giver.
That's obvious. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing everything you do. And I would encourage everyone to check out Tanya and her great work. And we'll have everything in the show notes. And so thanks for everything and all the great tips. And we'll definitely keep in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. I love doing these things. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks Tanya.
Healthy hugs. Healthy hugs.
Healthy hugs. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Tanya Willis and was motivated by my conversation with her to take those simple shifts in life to improve your health and vibrancy. Her energy is contagious, as I'm sure you'll agree, and here are some of her key takeaways. Number 1, there are always whispers in life, and if you're not listening, you get a big knock. Let's not get to the knock. Trust that voice and follow your intuition. Number 2, 3 pillars are: number 1, movement. Movement is the best medicine. 2, nutrition. And 3, mindset. Mindset is the biggest piece which stops people from doing movement and nutrition. 3, we want you in your 80s to be living a vibrant life. What can you do now so you have that vibrancy, that energy, so you can move without aches and pains? 4, understand how your brain is wired so you know you are not a failure. You don't lack willpower. Your brain works for survival. 5, you are what you believe. What you think about, you bring about. If you trust in the process, you will see positive changes. 6, we limit ourselves because of fear. What are you afraid of? Fear of failure? What other people may think? Or believing that you're too old or not good enough? Face your fears and learn from them. 7, it's about simple shifts. Pick one thing that you want to work on. Start slowly. Confidence comes from trusting yourself, and simple shifts build confidence. 8, if you're always living on the ground floor, that's what you're used to seeing. It's all about perspective. 9, learn to let go and play. Be curious. Slow down. Take the time to do some inner work. Get to know yourself and love you. You are a gift from God. Whatever it is, let your light shine. Thank you so much for listening and supporting this podcast. As promised, as a special gift to you for being a loyal listener, if you connect with me today with your name and the phrase, your podcast listener, I will provide you with 20% off our first group session, coaching session of the year of our life transforming program, It's My Time Now, starting in mid-March. Not only that, I will offer you 1 complimentary hour of private coaching with me. This group coaching program is open to 15 women only because it allows for maximum participation and allows me as your guide to really get to know you. Email me at kavita@powerpurposeplay.ca or schedule a free 30-minute call with me at the links in the show notes. Remember, put in the phrase, your podcast listener. You can learn more about the details of the program called It's My Time Now in the show notes as well. I'm excited for you because I know you have so much in your heart and soul that you want to release, or that you may need help figuring out what that is. Contact me, my friend, because that is my soul's purpose, to help you. In love and light, and until next week, stay safe and stay well.